Well, most people are getting ready for the first of the year, partying, having parties, watching football, doing something. I'm doing leads, creating some balance leads for my batteries. And I think I've about got her perfected. This is for my cables here. It hooks to these batteries, so you can see the connections here, and the ribbon plugs right into them. And then the other end here, we're going to connect into the balancer. Now the balancer is over here, and this is what I figured out the other day. This is a 14S, so it's supposed to be 14 batteries in series, but I actually have 7S, and then I put two of them beside each other, which makes 14. And it was for a little while confusing on how to get this A balancer to balance, because you had to put two balancers, one on each battery set, or figure out how to make a 14S. So you can see here, 14S, there's 15 leads here, one's the ground, 14 is for connecting to the rest of these batteries. So I did a little experimenting and I figured out how to separate these. So then what I've done, I've hooked up these leads, and these are just balancing connectors. And I numbered them 1 and 2. The number 1 will get a ground, and then it will get 7, connects to the hot side, and then become of the each cell on my packs. And then this right here won't get a ground, so it actually continues the series. So this is 7, and then it becomes 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So it won't get a ground. I found out a long time ago you can't have a ground on both. So, but this does work. I got one out there that's running right now. So these balancers are pretty cool. They're not very expensive. You hook up that B minus will be your ground, and your C minus will be connecting to your charger or your source, whichever. Actually, it's both. But I got a bus bar set up, so what I'm doing, I'm running a wire from the C minus side of this board, which connects right in here, and it gets soldered on. So I'm going to solder a wire on here. I've yet to do it. And then I'm going to solder one on here, and then I actually get connected to the hot post on the battery. So these right here actually have a connection, and I usually have been connecting here, and I got a little adapter that I put on here, and it makes it where I can put a screw in the top of it. And this is your ground, and then this is your hot. So then I put another one beside of it, so I connect this hot to the ground. So that puts it in series. So it makes a 48 volt connected to, or a 24 volt hooked to a 24 volt battery, which will be 48 volt. These will max out around 55, 56 volts, and I can run them down around 48, 49 volts and not harm them. So I'm able to keep them in balance. I'm able to charge them up, run them down. And this right here actually is going to be powering my home when power goes out. And this is something I've been working on for a while. Had a guy online, Jehu, been following him, watching some videos, and he kind of created these boards. And then, of course, I've kind of did them a little bit differently from what some of them are doing as far as how I putting on my connectors. Some of them are putting their connectors on the bottom. I put mine on the top. Each cell is actually fused, and then each board has its own fuse. So I don't think you can see it, but there's a little slot right there, and on the bottom side it has a fuse. I'll get one there to show you. That is protecting the board. Okay, something shorts, then if you can see it here, there by my finger, this is just a very small quarter, come off a 1/4 watt resistor. So what it is, it'll take about 4 to 6 amps, and it'll just burn in two. And of course, this over here are all fused as well. I've actually burned a couple of them, had to repair them. But these right here are all set up. So every cell has a fuse. So what happens is if something happens to where a cell goes bad, it burns this fuse. It basically takes this entire row out of the circuit. But everything above it and everything below it continues to absorb power and give out power. And of course, once I realize the voltage is not looking where it should be, then I can troubleshoot and find this and just basically take this out of the group and either repair the fuse, find the bad cell, replace it, and then put this back into the group, and we're back where we're back in business. So these are pretty handy. You put your lithium 1860 batteries right down in these trays. They just snap in. You don't have to worry about doing a bunch of soldering to the cells. You don't have to worry about putting fuse wires on the cells. I did a different way before, but this right here seems to be working really well. A little bit more expensive, but I do like the modular part of it. I've got a way of connecting these two batteries banks together to where they're really rigid. Okay, so these posts that go in them, I'm able to connect them together in the front and back and on the bottom, and that just makes one big battery. So a lot of these batteries, I get old laptop batteries. Some of them I buy new, but it's a really cool way to make yourself a backup system. And you put enough of these together, and you can actually run your home on them. I mean, I've done it. And I'm going to have all this right here kind of made up to where eventually I may take this right here and sell these as battery banks for people for backup power. So, but right now we're working all the kinks and the bugs out and making sure everything will be safe, and it will be able to be used, in a safe way, even for people that don't have a lot of knowledge on them. So, anyways, this is what I've been working on. Happy New Year. I'm in here wiring up things and doing soldering and shrink tubing, and just having a blast. Everybody stay safe and keep working on them power walls.